What's going on, everybody? It is Luke Beller with the Sideline Scoop. And so now we are halfway through the NFL season. Honestly, it's gone by pretty fast. It sort of seems that way so far. But because we were halfway through the season, I wanted to use this video to sort of take a look at the Packers and sort of see where they rank offensively and defensively from yards per game, defensively, how many yards we're allowing per game, how many points we're allowing per game. Just sort of take a look at this Packers team halfway through the season to sort of see where we match up with the rest of the league. So when we take a look at scoring offense, currently the Packers are ranked third, just behind the Seahawks and the Chiefs. Pretty good company to be in, averaging 31.6 points per game. And when we take a look at yards per game, we are averaging 395.9 yards per game. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers has been playing lights out, one of his best years probably in the past few years. Currently, so far, Aaron Rodgers, 2,253 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and of course, both of those came versus the Buccaneers in that bad game. We won't talk about that. And then Aaron Rodgers has a 117.5 passer rating. And right now, Aaron Rodgers is leading the league in passer rating after Russell Wilson's game yesterday. He sort of is barely ahead of him by 0.4 points. Aaron Rodgers, one of the most efficient quarterbacks, probably the most efficient quarterback all time. He just controls the ball so well. And then, of course, we have Devonta Adams, who has missed a few games this season, but still playing insanely good in the past few games. Right now, he is 8th with 675 receiving yards when you take a look at everyone else in the NFL. And considering he has been injured, if you take a look at yards per game, so of course in the games that he's played, how well he's done, he's averaging 112.5 yards per game, which is first in receivers. And the next best guy is DK Metcalf, who is 14 yards behind him. So obviously, when we take a look at this Packers offense, at receiver, Devonta Adams, clearly the number one option. Of course, Lazard is playing great the first 3 games of the season, putting up some great numbers, really breaking out this year. And then, of course, he went down, has been injured for the past, it seems like forever, for the past 5, 6 weeks, and hopefully he'll be back sometime soon. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has definitely had his ups and downs. He's had tons of drops so far this season. Last game, he redeemed himself a little bit. He had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns, but he's just been a very inconsistent guy, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And so hopefully with Lazard coming back and with Devonta Adams staying healthy, this offense is just going to continue to improve. Because also, if you take a look at it, Aaron Jones has missed lots of games as well, and Devontae. And so far, the Packers have only had Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Devonta Adams in 4 games this season. So the fact that those guys are both healthy right now, that is great news. And hopefully David Bakhtiari should be healthy, should be back sometime soon. So I really think this offense is just going to continue to improve, continue to get better. And then if we take a look at the rushing side of the ball, right now the Packers are 10th in rushing yards per game, averaging 126.6. And Aaron Jones right now, when you look at rushing yards per game, he is 7th at 74.5 rushing yards per game. And of course, this Packers rushing attack, we have some depth at the position. We have Jamal Williams, of course, who has played well. Didn't get to play last week because, he was close to A.J. Dillon, so he was a high-risk contact, so he couldn't play. Hopefully, he'll be back this week. So hopefully, this Packers offense will be pretty much healthy for the rest of the season, and that we continue to, move the ball as well as we have, because obviously, the Packers' strength right now, obviously on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, it's a little shaky. It's a little shaky on the defensive side of the ball. But the Packers' offense is definitely carrying this team right now. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, being one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So now if we take a look at the Packers' defense, right now we are ranked 17th when it comes to scoring defense. Teams are averaging 25.5 points per game against us. We are 11th when it comes to yards allowed, allowing 345.4 points per game. And then if we take a look at sort of rushing versus passing yards, we are 12th when it comes to rushing yards allowed per game, averaging 111 against us. And then for passing yards allowed, we are 13th, averaging 234.4 points per game. And so looking at those stats, of course, scoring, we're 17th. The other ones, we're in the top 12. And I think the thing about our defense is that at times they sort of just break down completely. We've seen those 2 games where we lost both times, against the Buccaneers, against the Vikings. In both of those games, they ran for over 150 yards. And so I think the worry about this Packers defense is we don't know when they're just going to get completely run over. Of course, the NFC Championship game last year versus the 49ers, Raheem Mostert over 200 yards. And then this year so far, the Buccaneers ran the ball like crazy against us. And of course, Dalvin Cook, over 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. And so that's definitely the weak area of the Packers. And even though we are, maybe in the top third when it comes to yards allowed, those games have really, been the beatdown, been the weakness of this Packers team. And so if we sort of take a look position by position to sort of see how we're looking so far. So taking a look at the defensive line, we haven't really paid, besides paying Kenny Clark, we haven't paid, that much money on the defensive side of the ball, on the defensive line particularly. Of course, Kenny Clark, we paid him a lot before this season, and currently he just hasn't been playing that good. He's been okay at times, but right now, if you look at PFF, Pro Football Focus, their grading system, he is currently 62nd out of 116 players, so not great. And then, of course, we have Dean Lowry, who we signed in 2019 to a 3-year, $20 million deal, so paying him a good chunk of change so far in the past couple seasons. He had a breakout year in 2018. He had 47 tackles, 3 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. But since then, he has just been going downhill, unfortunately. And I think in 2019, if you take a look at his PFF grades, he had a career worst when it came to defense, run D, tackling, and pass rush in 2019. And he sort of continued that descent in 2020. So it's definitely not good, to see the Packers pay up on a player like that and to sort of see him decline. So hopefully, he can get back to the form that he had in 2018. So then if we take a look at Kinsley Kiki, he's actually been the best on the defensive line when you take a look at PFF's grade. So he's currently 14th out of 116 defensive linemen, even ranking above Kenny Clark, who I said is 62nd. So Kinsley Kiki has definitely been playing great so far this season. And versus the 49ers, he had a great game. He was actually the Packers' highest graded defender in that game, and he had 2 pressures and 1 QB hit in that game. So it's good to see him, playing well. But overall, this defensive line just hasn't been good so far this season. Rumors just came out that apparently the Packers had inquired about Giants defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. They were trying to get a deal done. I think we offered a mid-round pick for him. The Giants declined it. He's in his final year of his contract, I think, but he's a captain on the team, so the Giants just didn't really want to move him. So the fact that the Packers were, looking for a defensive tackle, it sort of shows that they see that's an area of weakness on this team, the defensive linemen. We definitely need to improve in that area if we want to, have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. And then another interesting stat to take a look at is right now the Packers are just not doing good when it comes to taking the ball away. We're ranked 30th. We are still 10th in turnover differential because Aaron Rodgers, obviously very efficient, doesn't turn the ball over that much. He had 2 picks versus the Buccaneers, but besides that, he's been pretty good when it comes to limiting takeaways. So the Packers are still 10th in that category, but the Packers D could really, really take a step forward if we get more takeaways. And, that starts up front with, the pass rush. When the pass rush can bring that pressure, cause, the quarterback to have to roll around, make some bad decisions, that's when the interceptions start to come. And we saw that versus the 49ers when Preston Smith, for that 1 pick, he hit Nick Mullins, with Jimmy Garoppolo being out, which led to the Packers intercepting the ball. And then, of course, Darius Smith coming in there, getting the sack, getting the fumble. And that sort of just shows you when the Packers can bring the pressure, that's when the turnovers start to come. So hopefully we can see more of that in the future like we saw in that 49ers game. So then taking a look at our cornerbacks and our linebackers. Jair Alexander, obviously one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. According to PFF, he is number 1 so far this season. So he's definitely the biggest, asset on this Packers defense. Teams have really had trouble getting the ball to their best options on the offensive side of the ball at wide receiver. He shut down Will Fuller, Mike Evans, all these other guys. He's just playing lights out so far this season. Besides him, though, the other cornerbacks haven't been playing great. Of course, Kevin King has been down a lot, which means Josh Jackson has subbed in for him. And Josh Jackson definitely not as good as Kevin King. But then Shannon Sullivan, he's been playing okay. He is 49th out of 116 cornerbacks, according to PFF. So not great, but he's playing all right. And then if we take a look at our linebackers so far this season, with Christian Kirksey coming in during this offseason, hoping, he could bring a spark to this Packers defense. He just hasn't really been good, and of course, he's been injured for a while now. But Kamal Martin recently has come in and really been the best Packers linebacker. He's only played in a couple games so far, but he's really looked good. So I'm excited to see sort of how he can progress in the next, few games in the rest of the season. And then Chris Barnes and Ty Summers, both at linebacker, just haven't been good. Chris Barnes is 67th out of 82, according to PFF. And Ty Summers is 66 out of 82, according to PFF. So this defense overall, definitely our weak spot, definitely the area where we need to improve. This Packers offense has definitely been carrying us. How could you not, be great with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback? So I'm hoping at the rest of the season, we can sort of see the Packers defense that we saw against the 49ers. Considering, though, they were missing pretty much their entire team, I don't know if that's going to be the case. But we can still hope, we can still believe that maybe that'll happen. But that's all I wanted to break down today. Just let you guys know offensive statistics, some defensive statistics as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button down below. And if you want to see some more Packers content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.